How's it going, YouTube? Coming in today with another video, and today, as with Randy, is going to be a brand new video for the state of the game, talking about the expectations for Lil, what the format's going to turn into after the first YCS with the new time rules, which Lil is bought out right now, so it's probably going to be 15 rounds of Swiss, and I'll be there, so it's going to be quite the time. I want to catch everyone up on the meta and just kind of talk about what I could see happening moving forward. Definitely go ahead and check out my sponsors over in Gem, Cloud, Arla, Imperium, Dragonshield, RW, MainPhaze, and Grimoire down below in the description. Also, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so we can hit our goal at 30,000. I'd really appreciate it. Now, without further ado, let's hop right into the content. The first thing after today is going to be which is going to be the best deck. This is going to be a very interesting question moving into the event. A lot of people are writing off the Yummy deck, which is kind of crazy. A lot of people are saying that you should be playing the Noroi decks, right? Playing something like K9 Crystron or like Pure K9. And I don't necessarily know if that's true. I think that the Yummy deck is still very good. It has the Marshmallow. We still have one Obedience. We play Thrust now. I think the deck is still very solid. I do think that it's really crazy that people are starting to write this deck off. I do, however, think, and we'll talk about this here in a little bit, that the room is going to be a very big mixed bag at Lil, just because they finally have Monster Mayhem, which is crazy. They just recently got that. So we're going to start seeing a lot more of those decks as well. I do, however, think that you have to be on cards like Valor Imperm right now, just because Noroi exists. If this card is normal summoned, you have to be able to answer it, and that's going to be a major problem going into this event, where a lot of people won't want to have their strategy revealed if they're going second game one, and a lot of people are just going to scoop to Noroi effect. So that is definitely going to be an awkward time that I could see happening. As far as Dracotail goes, I think that it's going to be pretty popular in the EU. I really do. I think this deck's probably going to be everywhere, whether it's branded Dracotail or just Dracotail. I expect to run into that a lot. I think that Yummy is probably going to be lower represented. I think that it's going to be a very diverse event. With 3 Lightning Storm in the format, we go back to a lot of the chainable trap cards like Dimensional Barrier. This card is going to be really popular going into Lil. It's already super popular, and I could see it being even more popular at the next event. So this is something that you want to make sure is in your sideboard, because we will be seeing a lot of Barrier. In my opinion, the best breakers right now are going to be Super Poly, Talent, Lightning Storm, and Droplet. These cards are just absolutely phenomenal into the format right now, especially in such a diverse room. You want to make sure that your breakers are as diverse as possible, so these are going to be the ones that I would say are going to answer everything that you need the best. As far as the best hand traps go, I'm not really going to talk about like Ash or the Molcharmies. I'm talking about the other hand traps, right? Because those are obvious. We all play those cards. But the best hand traps right now, in my opinion, are going to be any of the Dominus cards. They're very strong. If you can play like Purge in the new one, Impulse in the new one, if you can play either of these in like songs, right? There's a lot of different things that you can do right now. And even if you want to play something budget like True Draco right now and you want to add in like the Dominus cards, you could just play one of the Dominus cards and the new Dominus card, probably, and songs, which is really crazy. It just depends if you want to run the Charmies or not. So the Dominus cards are really strong, especially paired with Imperm. But again, Imperm Valor are going to be extremely important right now because of Noroi. You do not want to get into a situation where you don't want to reveal what deck you're on in game one to your opponent so they can set up the proper board where you have to scoop. You want to have an answer to the Noroi. The last one here is still Bell. I think Bell generically into the format is just going to be the best one for you. This card answers many different situations, and it's something that you do want to have. Especially if a lot of people are back on Fiendsmith cards, you want a really quick answer to a Engraver coming back from grave to stop them from continuously comboing. So this is something that you really want to think about. You could even start stocking up on like Bystials. I think Bystials come back this format too. I think they're going to be really strong. But we'll talk about more of that as we move along in the video. So these 3 decks here, Orchist, Lunalight, and Dracotail, are going to be the most popular at Lil under my expectations. I think that Monster Mayhem just came out, so there's going to be a lot of Orchist, maybe a lot of Yummy Orchist. That's a super popular deck because one Girsu is just as full combo can be through Orchist and Yummy, which is crazy. And then you have Lunalight, which I know is just a really popular deck right now. You know, Tom K got second at Worlds with the deck too, and is just seeing a little bit more popularity as of late. And then Dracotail, of course, this is like a huge Joshua Schmidt deck right now. Jesse's been playing the deck. I feel like this deck is going to be everywhere, and I feel like Yummy is going to be taking a little bit of a back burner. That doesn't mean that Yummy won't be super strong, but I think that a lot of people are going to be playing other decks this format like these, and therefore if we're seeing a lot of like Lunalite or Orcust, I'm saying, you know, like Bell's really strong, Bestials are really strong. So these are cards that we definitely want to consider. There's probably going to be a fair amount of Mitsu, but I don't know how much Mitsu. I feel like we're also going to see like not as much. I feel like that's not really that big in Europe as like it would be in the NA. It's kind of the same thing we saw with like Plant, right? Plant was huge in Europe, but nobody plays that in NA, so it's not really common. These are all just assumptions. Of course, we don't really know until we get to the event, but sometimes you just have to have a good theory and then move to the event with that theory and hope that it was correct. Now, do we main Nibiru? This is a huge question that I've been getting asked quite often. I don't really know if we want to main Nibiru if we're going to be expecting so much Dracotail. I do think, though, that there's other cards that we'll talk about here in a little bit that are going to be still pretty important to play that a lot of people are also writing off. But we got to remember, when Nibiru is bad, that means Nibiru is good because no one expects to get Nibiru'd, right? So then everyone plays Nibiru. So this card will always just be a conundrum because if it's bad, it's good. If it's good, it's bad, which also makes it good, right? So it's interesting, but this card will always be something that I would consider even as just a 2 of because... Again, Nibiru is one of those cards where if you have this and, right, any other hand trap always makes Nibiru just crazy. But this is a card that, even if it's a suboptimal Nibiru, right, you're not going to throw it at anything that's like too crazy, you still minimize the board. Where you would have to deal with 3 interruptions, maybe now you have to deal with like 1, right? I think Nibiru is going to be really important as well, because if we're seeing an uptick in Fiendsmith now, this means that we're going to have an answer for Caesar. And it's still the same choke point for the most part, right? Now they might be more wanting to do like the Lacrima line and then get another 6 on board and do it that way. In that case, you want to make sure that you're playing 3 Valor, 3 Imperium with Nibiru so that you can answer Caesar. But a lot of decks still have a problem with Caesar because that card's very strong. A lot of us thought that card would have been banned a long time ago, but it hasn't been. So this is a card that, do you still main it? Probably. Is it like a 2 of? I think so. Now for the other are these necessary cards. Yes and yes. Honestly, I think both these cards still have a lot of application in the format. Droll especially, I think those cards will be absolutely phenomenal. It answers a lot of different situations that you're going to be in at the tournaments. But Lancia, let alone being able to answer things like Malice, the Lunalite deck, being able to answer Orcust, being able to answer the Crystron deck to a point. There's a lot of room for these cards to still shine this format, and I don't think cutting them now is very correct. Now, what's the replacement for Solemn Judgment? This is a very good question, and I want to make sure I answer this for you. Solemn Judgment being such a key piece in the sideboard, it's painful to watch it go to 1, but now we have the choice of what else to play. Originally, I thought it was Iron Thunder. I bought 2 copies for $14, which feels gross. But now I'm going to be playing 1 anti-spell, 1 judgment, 1 warning, 1 barrier. And it's because I'm already playing Thrust. I have 1 on my main, 1 on my side, and then I have a few cards that I can put in for going first. You want cards to be able to answer the board breaks that we're going to be able to see here. I think that a lot of side decks are going to be moving to heavier board breaks, so that's something to really keep in mind as well. But I think that's going to be the healthiest replacement for Solemn Judgment. Did the ban list make the game better? Now, last format, I did say that I didn't like the format. I said the format was dog water, which was true. That format sucked. I do think, though, that with the ban list, a lot of things did improve. I'm really still irritated that prayers didn't get hit. I think that the Mitsurugi cards are just custom. They're just broken. They require too much of an answer, right? Like, if Mirakumo hits the board, there's only so much that you can do as far as an answer with that, especially if they have a prayer behind it, or if they go first and they have purification behind it. It's just rough. Like, you're going to get randomly nuked at some point. I almost wish that if they kept Mitsurugi in the game, that they would have given us another Call by the Grave to help answer that deck. But, I mean, that's just what we have to deal with at this point. But I do think that overall, the ban list did make the game better. I'm just kind of waiting for a deck right now that really speaks to me, because I haven't really found a deck that I necessarily really enjoy playing. Currently, I've just been playing Yummy. The deck's fine. But I do hope that we get something that's more interesting, right? Really just, like, scratches the brain the right way. It's been a minute. But, you know, we'll see. That doesn't necessarily mean that I, like, hate the game, right? I'm just trying to wait and find something that I really enjoy playing. And I thought that was going to be Dracotail, but unfortunately that deck's just not really it for me. I really might be considering something like Branded. I think Branded's pretty fun. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of ceiling. but I do think that overall the ban list made the game better. And then how scary is Mitsu? I think this deck is very scary just because of the fact that there's Impulse, there's the Mirakumo, there's Purification, Prayers, Futsu, cards that just really require answers, and if you don't answer them, especially like Futsu being on your opponent's board and they keep summoning back all their follow-up, then you have to clear their board and kill them in the same turn, and if you don't, you're in a really rough spot. Now, Imp being gone means that there's no bridge in these other decks, which is really cool. I like that a lot. But, I mean, you can still just, like, play the cards because they're good cards, right? So definitely something else to think about. But I do think that Mitsurugi is probably still one of the best things in the room right now, which is really scary to think about because, you know, if you're not on Droll, which a lot of people are opting to not, then this deck can just kind of go off freely. But if they go Prayer and Draw phase, then they can go off anyway. So it does feel kind of bad. That is just something that you have to think about, though, right? That's going to be something that we have to worry about moving forward. Cards like Gravekeeper's Inscription, it's really good going first, just saying you don't have a graveyard. It just warrants a response. If they have Purification, they have to drop it. If they don't, they lose, right? Because no matter what gets tributed, it doesn't come back unless they just bring back Mirakumo, which at that point is like pretty suboptimal, right? So definitely a very interesting way to look at this deck, but we'll have to see what it does moving forward. I do hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions, definitely go ahead and leave them down below in the comment section. Follow my Twitter, Twitch, Discord, Instagram, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you guys all soon.